Agi, your mic is mute.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our insightful webinar, ChatGPT and AI in Research. We are thrilled to have you join us today as we explore the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and its profound impact on research. My name is Agi, and I will be your host this evening. I will share a screen for you guys. So as we know, artificial intelligence has undeniably become a powerful force in research, revolutionizing the way we approach and resolve challenging issues across various fields. It has the potential to spur innovation, improve decision-making, and open new vistas in scientific research. However, this integration of cutting-edge technology also raises important ethical concerns which demand serious considerations. In this webinar, we will delve into the use of ChatGPT and AI in research and the ethics of employing this method in research. We will explore complex moral issues including accountability, bias, transparency, and ethical use of modern technology in the realm of research. So this webinar is made possible through a collaboration between the two esteemed organizations, the TDR Global Asia and IR Connect. It is indeed a remarkable partnership that brings us together in the world of research and global engagement. Before we continue, I will introduce a little about TDR Global Asia and TDR Global for you. TDR Global is a worldwide community of passionate scientists and experts who have been working with TDR on research on infectious disease of poverty. For over 40 years, TDR had been working hard at fighting disease of poverty. TDR has engaged researchers and experts from all over the world in its efforts. Each individual brings unique knowledge, and together they make up a vibrant scientific community called TDR Global. Today, TDR Global Asia extends a warm welcome to all IR Connect members and all of you guys who have actively participated in TDR activities. We invite you to join us in the TDR Global Discovery Platform as part of this collaboration. Our mission is to empower and connect professionals and scholars around the world. So if you're looking for expert, if you need a multidisciplinary team, you want to share your knowledge with the next generation, or if you just require some additional exposure for your work, we have TDR Global Discovery Platform, a public database of people who have received funding, serve as expert on committees, and who have been involved in TDR partnership over the last 40 years. You can scan the QR in the screen for more information about the TDR Global Discovery Hub. Our TDR Discovery Hub is a worldwide community, and if you are a current or former TDR grantee, trainee, expert, advisor, staff, or committee member, and you would like to join and register, you can email the TDR first at this email, tdrglobal@who.int. So if you're interested, you can scan this QR and then join us in TDR Global Discovery Hub and find out if you need an expert or multidisciplinary team, or if you just want to share knowledge, we are here for you. And the next, I will let my partner from IR Connect, Nidhi, to explain further about IR Connect. Nidhi, please.
Thanks, Agi. Hi, everyone. So, IR Connect is a networking platform that aims to connect the implementation researchers, including the alumni and the current students of the TDR postgraduate program. We have 8 partner universities across the world. Okay, next slide. So over the 3 years, we had a lot of activities which include the alumni meet with the university alumni and webinars and spotlight interviews. And now we have 407 members in our community.
Okay, Nidhi,
Thank you.
thank you. Is there anything else you want to add? Okay. So thank you so much, Nidhi and IR Connect to make this collaboration happens. We are very thankful for tonight and this opportunity to work together to bring you this amazing webinar. Let's give a round of applause to IR Connect as they are a vibrant community of scholars and individuals dedicated to the field of implementation research. Now let's move forward with our webinar, ChatGPT and AI in Research. We have an exciting agenda ahead, so let's dive right in. We are thank you for being a part of this collaboration. We will have an opening and speakers introduction by our moderator, Dr. Vincentius Arca. And we will have our esteemed speaker, Dr. Anis Fuad, talking about how to benefit AI for research and the ethical perspective of it. And we also have Diljit Kanan, who will be talking about making good use of ChatGPT for your research, the tips and trick, and then we will have our discussion. So this is our speakers and moderators. And I will introduce you our moderator before we start the session. This session will be moderated by Dr. DRH Vincentius Arca Testamenti. He is a research manager at Center for Tropical Medicine Studies in UGM. Vincentius Arca Testamenti, or we know him as Arca, is the research manager, and he is a veterinarian and did his doctorate degree in primatology. He is interested in research on infectious disease, One Health, and laboratory-based research. Arca thinks ChatGPT as being very helpful and creative, and it helps him to do laborious tasks, and it is non-judgmental. Arca will be the moderator for our session today. To Arca, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Agi, for the nice introduction. ChatGPT is indeed non-judgmental. You can basically ask ChatGPT silly questions, ask for help anytime, and it will not be irritated. I like maybe one of your co-workers. I'm sorry, just a joke. Um, yeah, and then I will take this opportunity to introduce our speakers. So our first speaker is Mr. Anis Fuad. He is a lecturer at Department of Biostatistics, Epidemiology, and Population Health, and he is also the head of cross-cutting division at Center for Tropical Medicine, and he is the head of e-health division at Center for Health Policy and Management, Universitas Gadjah Mada, Indonesia. So he will be covering certain aspects of AI in research. Um, he will start with the general idea of the research itself, the steps in conducting research, and then where can AI improve our research. And then he will also talk about case studies about the use of AI in by multiple people, and then he will also talk a little bit about bias, ethical issues, transparency, and yeah, over dependency of AI use. And then our second speaker, we have Diljit Kanan. He is the tech manager at Indian Institute of Management Bangalore. He was the in-charge assistant director training and training program manager at Institute of Public Health Bangalore, and he will be covering about the ChatGPT, how ChatGPT works, and then maybe he will give you some tips and tricks to use ChatGPT, and then he will engage with you about how you perceive ChatGPT and its use. But before we go to hear their talk, I'm gonna show you something. So if I may share my screen. So as artificial intelligence, particularly ChatGPT, uh, is getting everyone's attention, I would like to share some of the memes I found on the internet about it. I don't know if you're into memes or not, but let's see. So maybe you've seen this one. The top one, when I realized ChatGPT can do my job. Wow. And then the second one, when I really realized ChatGPT can do my job. And then this one, people can be so creative with AI. What's wrong? All of his sweet talk was generated by ChatGPT. And then a smart man would say, you can't lose your job to AI if you don't have one. Sorry for the dead joke. But uh, worry less because ChatGPT is not perfect. So I did this afternoon. I asked, actually, I saw this question online. I asked, is 450 19% of 500? And it's funny because people are saying that ChatGPT kept giving wrong answers at first. So no, for 450 is not 90% of 500 to calculate it and blah blah blah. And then it realizes that it make a mistake. So 90% of 500 is indeed 450. Yeah, I apologize for the mistake. So yeah, that's just for intermezzo. And then yeah, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Anis Fuad to deliver his speech. Please, Pak Anis, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mas Arca. Uh, may I know my sound is clear?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mas Arca. I will try to find my slide. Okay, I hope you are all able to see this slide. This is the title of my presentations in the next 15 minutes. We would like to see how the benefits of using AI to support our research, and then some ethical issues related on using AI. I think the issue of AI and also specifically on ChatGPT has been known and also discussed by many uh, and also in this example, for example, uh, since 1980 in Time magazine, they try to put several issues related to AI since 1980, and then in 2023, Time magazine also put ChatGPT as one of the selected cover. And the idea of AI, I think, is yeah, uh, we need to thank to Professor Alan Turing, who uh, since 1950 he tried to have this idea and innovation to see whether a machine could work or could think as a human. And I think recently in 2023, there was also a publication mentioning about the role of AI and machine learning in clinical medicine. And it is actually explain about the progress of the technologies, not only in terms of the machine, the capacity to uh, to process the data uh, uh, currently with the strong capability on storage, and also the capability to process the data in a rapid and fast manner, and also more affordable, including this kind of machine could also be uh, easily managed in terms of the size, and also could be easily to use compared to in the beginning in the 1950 when the machine is a very large. But right now they have the functions, and also in terms of the evolution of the technologies, the large function including on how to manage a big data, including a large language model in AI that currently has been used in terms of the such kind of model. For example, ChatGPT becoming very famous right now. In several publications, it shows that ChatGPT, like Mas Arka already mentioned before, about some functionalities in healthcare, including answering several complex clinical questions, and also on clinical reasoning. So with the coming of a large language model, actually it offer several opportunities in the current human being. We know that the large language model, and also the new term of generative AI could be used to support several creative possibilities and generating new ideas, but also they have several limitations. And I think in this kind of context, it could be used to enhance research, and also to develop any creative content. We could learn, for example, in several publications, in a new publications on ChatGPT in terms of taxonomy and systematic review. In medical research, AI, generative AI, could be used for scientific writing, to support on literature review, to develop and a summary of a paper, and also to create a new idea of research, and also other topic that also could be used during the cycle of research. Another paper also mentioned about the role of ChatGPT in healthcare setting, and in this graph it shows that compared to the benefits in healthcare practice, I think the number of application of ChatGPT was mostly uh, appeared to support academic or scientific writing, and also to support on scientific research. You know, in research, there are several steps that could be conducted. It will be started by developing questions, or based on the observation. We would like to know more about it. And then later on, we need to develop a research topic, and then to enhance with more detailed research questions, and then developing study design, data collections, data analysis, conclusion, and until I think the next step is also to write the publications. In this kind of cycle, ChatGPT and also AI in general could be used to support any step of this research process. In one of the part of the paper by Salam Malik, it mentions several benefits of ChatGPT. It is related to the efficiency in research process. You know that some process in research, especially on the developing comprehensive literature review, it will be possible to be supported by AI. You know, right now there are several AI that could be used on a literature review. I think some of you have heard about Litmaps, SciSite, Elicit, Research Rabbit, etc. It could be used to support the efficiency, especially on the research process. Secondly, about the function or the benefits of the AI could also be used to support the process on developing questions. I think in this kind of context, we could use AI as part of the mentor to ask questions and answers. And for me, for example, people with a limited knowledge and practice in English, it it could be we could use AI especially to improve the language and expressions, and also for us with who are non-native English speaker, it could help us, for example, on improving the clarity and influency of our writing. And I think in this kind of context, if we could use AI better, it will bring about the equity and diversity of research. We know that many publications, I think some of the publications could not be accepted in general English scientific due to the limitation in English. However, there are also some other example that we need to explore more detail, especially about the role of AI for specific users. We know that in graduate students, the needs for improving data analysis could also be supported by AI. And also other part, especially in terms of opportunities for collaboration with others, we could use AI to help us on writing, on responding email. So I think this kind of context is also useful for graduate students. Um, there are also another example of using AI for early career researchers, like what we have discussed about literature review. But there are also some other AI that could be used also for improving time management. Usually for early career researchers, when there are more and more activities, we need also uh, support from other tool, including AI. And also for supervisors, it also be useful to support their mentorship program and activities. So in this kind of context, not only large language model, but also AI for other tools also could be used as well to support them. But there are also some other concern related to AI. So I took this slide from the GMIR. They mentioned about best practices on using AI as author, peer reviewer, and editor. I think it is also good reference. We could see that, for example, in terms of accountability, we could not use AI as part of the co-author. And as author as well, we need also to mention about transparency and also the confidentiality on using AI. There is also some other suggestion related to the role of peer reviewer when using AI, and also as well for editor. But we know, even though there are several opportunities, there are also some concerns in terms of the AI, especially about the yeah, given that this is like a black box, we need also to consider about the bias, the ethical issues, data privacy, some other consideration related to the AI and also machine learning in terms of the role of healthcare profession. Some worries about the possibility of AI to reduce the skill of physicians. So I do not know. Yeah, probably it could also be uh, possible to reduce the skill of human or researchers, given that too many dependencies on AI. And also, there is interesting analysis. It mentioned that AI will be more focused on text, but sometimes the contexts are not too detailed compared to human. So I think in terms of ethical issues in AI, the issue of safeguarding personal data is also important. So it is recommended if we use ChatGPT, we need also to remove the personal data and put anonymity if we put data into ChatGPT. So this is just an example. For example, you know, in Indonesian language, our language do not consider gender. But this is just an example when one of the AI lecturer in ITB. She tried to put on ChatGPT in Indonesia. The when we mention nurse or perawat, for example, actually we could say he or she, but when we write down in ChatGPT, it is always translated as she. She became nurse, but doctors, it is always translated as he. So it is about the bias on using ChatGPT. So we need to consider about that. But it is the example of my colleague in ETB in other university. But when I try to use on ChatGPT, it seems that the ChatGPT learn about whether we need to put she for nurse or he for doctors. But it seems that they put differently when we put on different setting of the hospital. So I think this kind of context or example, like Mas Arca previously mentioned about some error in ChatGPT, we need also to consider about that. So I think the aspect of human is always important. WHO already released about this guideline, but and I think a more specific guideline on research is important. And this is also just one example on how to be cautious about using AI. It is one of the recommendation in for a reviewer of grant in NIH that it is not recommended to use AI. I would like to close this presentation with the slide from one of the famous leader in AI in medicine. He said that AI will not replace physician, but physician who use AI will replace those who don't. I do not know whether physician in this kind of context could be replaced by researchers. So whether AI will not replace researchers, I think it is yes. But the researchers who use AI will possibly replace who don't use AI. I think that's all my presentation. I think we could discuss and deep dive into the question and answer later. Thank you, Mas Arka.
Thank you, Pan. It's very insightful, and the last quote is very what you would say. I would say like striking. So yeah, it's true that the human aspect is really important, but still, people who don't use AI may get replaced, right, Faanis? So thank you once again, Faanis, for your talk. We will have the question and answer session right after the second talk, but um, before we go to Diljit's presentation, I would like to invite you to ask some to answer some questions. So I have a few questions here. Maybe we should wait a little bit.
Arka, can I share the screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is just an intermezzo. We are using Mentimeter, and
Wait.
yes, for so you can go to the polling by either scanning the QR code here, or you can also go to menti.com, and then it will ask you for a code, and you need to enter these numbers. So if you are using, if you have your mobile phone with you, you can easily scan the QR code, or you can also use the same device that you're using for the Zoom to go to menti.com, and then you can follow along. So yeah, I see some people are already here. And then we also shared the link, direct link to the polling. You can find it on the chat box. It will be quick, I promise.
Arka, let me know when I should go to the next one, okay?
I think we can, yeah, for those of you who have joined, maybe you can hit the like button so we know how many people have joined. Okay, so yeah, once again, you can either scan the QR code with your mobile phone or you can use a web browser to open menti.com and then enter this code. Okay, it's not showing questions yet. So after we have most of you joining, we can go to see the questions. Okay, maybe we can start now, Diljit.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so the first question is, do you use AI in your daily life or job? So Pak Anis has mentioned a lot of examples already. Maybe you've done some of them, or maybe you've done all of the examples that he gave us. Okay, so it's interesting. Yeah, I see a total of 31 people, 32. So basically, yeah, right now the majority of the participants have used or are using AI in their daily life or job. Okay, so for those who have just joined, we are now doing a polling. You can go to menti.com as shown here on the top side, menti.com, and then you can enter the code 21642920. So you still have time to catch up. And then maybe next question, Diljit. And then what do you use AI for? Is it just for fun or getting ideas? You can choose more than one option. Writing, generate content, or maybe you use Adobe Photoshop maybe for photo editing. I'm interested to know those who answer other, like what do you use AI for? So I will, while everyone is voting, may I have someone who answered other? Can you please elaborate your answer? Like, what do you use AI for? Can you please raise your hand on Zoom? You can do that by clicking the reactions button and then click raise hand, and then we will allow you to unmute yourself. Yes, Nabila, can you unmute yourself?
I think we need to give permission, right?
Yes, Reza, bisa tolong diberikan ini unmute?
Oke, boleh coba Mas.
I think they can unmute. Right?
Yes, please.
Recently I've been using OpenAI. If I want to learn about something and I don't particularly have the time to like read all of the like material. So I just ask OpenAI to. So the prompt that I use, for example, would be, please briefly explain about mixed method research design and easy to understand bullet points, and they will just give me the concise bullet points, so I don't have
Okay.
to like read all the complicated like materials about it, and that usually kickstart my learning.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So she is using AI to act like a tutor to give her insight about what things.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
so much for
exactly.
sharing. And anyone else, you can share what purpose of AI that you are currently using right now? Yes, please, Pak Ahmad Dahlan.
Yeah, I was using an AI after some my friend want me to find some article about nursing. Yeah, me as nursing and also I'm so sorry. This is my friend that want me to find what some journal using lit maps. Yeah, but now I forgot how to do it that again. I
Okay.
was know that from uh, Instagram. Yeah, Instagram life hack. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So yeah, it's something that has been brought up by Pak Anis as the first speaker. Thank you so much. So I want to know, is there someone who can share what they do for fun by using AI? Just curious, out of curiosity. Or do you do silly stuff or silly conversation? If you can share that with us, please share. Okay, maybe. So
Hello.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
please.
am I audible? Yeah, for some time, like the while we request for some information, they will give some wrong information. That time I used to school like repeatedly, even after repeatedly, they used to give some wrong information. That time I saw once or twice I school and the AI said sorry or maybe don't. Yeah, sometime like this.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It does apologize for every mistake
Mm.
that it made. Okay, thank you for sharing. Maybe I can go to the next question, Digit, please.
Yeah.
So this is important. So are you concerned that AI will take your job in the future? So I would like to see your response here. Okay, so some of you are concerned, are afraid, maybe. Oh, the number is quite, it's going up. Okay, so can I have someone who answered yes to elaborate your question, please? You can raise your hand. So, is there anyone? I invite you to elaborate your answer on yes. Like, are you afraid that there will be um, what do you call it? Like conscious AI that can think like you, or maybe you are working on data analysis and you're afraid that AI will take analysis much quicker than a human can do, something like that. Can anyone share, please? Okay, so maybe can I have someone who answered no to elaborate the answer? Why are you not concerned about AI? It's everywhere now. Yes, please. We have Nigar here.
Hello, this is Zoha from Bangladesh.
Oh, okay.
I used to work as a research assistant, public health research assistant. So where like for our research purpose, we had to go to like different areas or like our study locations. So I feel like those things like collecting data and stuff, those things are something I don't think AI will be able to do it because we are getting raw data from the field. So I feel like that is an aspect that secures my job.
Okay, yeah, thank you for your sharing. So it's true that field those who work in the field, that's totally there's no AI that can be, you know, injected to a robot and do interview, something like that. So yeah, I understand why you are not concerned about this one. So can I have another person, please, who answered no to this question? We have Nabila, please. Oh, okay.
Hello. Yeah. So I currently work as an intern physician. So I don't think in a very short time my job will be replaced by AI. That's number one.
I'm
But
sorry,
number
Nabila,
two,
we can barely hear you.
oh, sorry. Okay. So currently I'm working as an intern physician. So I don't think anytime soon my job will be replaced by AI because, there still needs that human to human connection in my job, obviously. But my second point is that throughout, throughout technological advances, like technology has provided us with like higher productivity, and society always finds a way, even though there's higher productivity, uh, for humans to do even other more jobs. Like we expected technological advances, meaning for us having more like free time, but I guess AI can help in that aspect, but there's always something that humans need to do. That's my opinion personally.
Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing. So yeah, thank you for participating. We're still collecting questions, so you can now type your question in Q&A, but the speakers will answer your question right after Diljit's presentation. So now I would invite Diljit to present his talk.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Arka. Thank you for
Okay.
the introduction, and thank you for the wonderful session. And thank you, Anis, for setting the context for the presentation. He gave a brief introduction and the flow of how AI has evolved. It was very insightful to see so many research has gone about it and how things are future. So I mean, I coming from a background in technology and more focused on how to build online courses. I've spent a lot of time in how to use latest technology, and I think November 2022 when ChatGPT came along, it is like a what can I say? It's like for people who have worked in technology, it's like wow, that's something really amazing, something really great in terms of how technology has gone a leap forward. We always in our hi-fi movies we have heard about artificial intelligence and technology, and there was one software which came which actually felt like, oh, it had some intelligence on its own. I think before that we have never had, I mean, we knew that there was input output chatbots that we never used, or we have interacted with some virtual assistant which was not really cool. But I think ChatGPT was the first software that brought this AI technology into a normal human hands, because otherwise all this technology was kind of focused on, it is not like this technology was not there in Siri or our email bot. I'm sure the big companies were using it in their backend to make it more productive. But I think OpenAI and ChatGPT bought this entire technology uh, to normal human beings. Like, we were able to kind of get a sense of how this AI technology is working and things like that. So it was really exciting to see how within few span of time everybody was kind of everybody, in the sense, I would mainly focus on tier 1 cities and people who are really working with computers. If you really go to a literally a village or a tier 1 tier 2 cities, especially in India, I don't think many of them have heard about ChatGPT. They have heard somewhere AI and GPT, but many of them has not used it. I think in our group, I think we'll see that lot more people have been using GPT. So I think we will keep this session a bit more interactive. I will continue this with the Mentimeter. So if you have not yet joined, the entire presentation would be a Mentimeter and more interaction. So in case if you have not joined the Menti, please do join. We will be continuing with this question a lot. So I think the question is, they were asking GPT, but I wanted to specifically have how you use Chat GPT. Many of them have said that for various purpose in which they have used. I also want to see if there are people who have not at all used it, because if they have used it, I think we can continue to talk in a different language. Okay, I see currently things are balanced, but can I think we have 78 people in the team in the webinar. Okay, I see majority of them have used it. It's interesting to see how diverse also how you have used it, and the more ones were for the idea generation. That was quite interesting to see how idea generation is the most used. We will wait for a bit more.
Yeah, maybe
So
if you have closed your Menti, you can see the top site, menti.com, and then use the code there. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, makes sense. I think there was a lot more participants. I think if you guys have closed your Menti, we would really appreciate, because the entire presentation would be this. So I'm surprised that the no is increasing. So okay, so there are people who have not used ChatGPT. Okay, that's interesting. But I think majority, if I may put it, at least from the survey, majority of the people have used ChatGPT. Okay. So I mean, I will slowly invite people to speak on. So if you can potentially on your video, you will come on top of the list, and you can just directly speak. You don't have to raise your hand. So let's see. So I'm going to the next one. So I'm glad that many of you have used ChatGPT. There are people who have not tried ChatGPT. Anybody wants to say why you have not tried it? Any reason why you can type the answer also? Any reason why you have not tried it, or you didn't feel like? Because I met somebody recently and she said, "Oh, I'm not trying ChatGPT because it's crazy. It will hamper my thinking process, because it can do all these things automatically, and it's because if I start using ChatGPT, I will start slowly reducing my thinking process." That was one explanation. Any other interesting explanations for not using it? You can also type it in the chat. Okay. I will go to the next version. Why I ask this question is many people are asking what is the difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4. Okay, I think most of us have free version of ChatGPT 3.5 available, and I think most of us are using ChatGPT 3.5. I just wanted to quickly say the difference. I think ChatGPT 3.5 is an older version of it, and ChatGPT 4 is kind of the newer version of it. Surprising that nobody's using 4.0, but yeah, okay, there are a few people who are using it. But the interesting difference is that GPT-4 is the latest version of it. So obviously, the context and the data that it comes with, which has a bit more power on it. But of course, you will need to pay that $20 per month for doing it. But the most interesting aspects of GPT 4.0 is more than the context and how it can answer better questions, and it can understand better context in which we are entering the data. You could potentially have this external plugins. That is, when I mean external plugins, you can potentially upload your PDF document and ask GPT to analyze that. For example, in 3.5 version, we don't have that facility to look at upload any data and get a result of it. So in case of GPT 4.0, the most important thing I felt, which are very interesting, is one is definitely you can uh, uh, upload content and then kind of get result based on that. The second thing I felt very interesting is the data analytics feature. I mean, it's almost like having, I mean, somebody actually doing a data analytics course, and you can literally upload an Excel sheet onto the GPT-4 and ask questions as a layperson, saying that, can you analyze and find some disturbance, or can you look at the data and see what is interesting trend in the data? So in our case, we tried it out with a grade report. It was quite interesting. We took like we run courses for around 100 200 students. So what we did was to put the grade report onto ChatGPT 4 and said, can you find trends? Who are the top students? And it literally gives data and also analytics and graphs based on the analysis of that data. So I'm sure in research you will have a lot of data which is lying there. Of course, you have to be careful about the privacy of what kind of data that you can put into these models, because they pull in the data into their source. But if you have open data that you want to analyze, if the data is public available, you can definitely use GPT-4 function to really speed up your analytic function. We are not going into hands-on this session because we are planning to have this session a bit more series. So we will go into the hands-on session in the next coming series in the coming days. We will show literally how do you create a course or how do you do data analytics using a GPT. We'll be doing that in the next series. By the way, thanks a lot for contributing on the survey. I think very few people are using GPT 4.0, but I think we will show the features. I think sometimes it's also because we have not got a sense of what it can do. So hopefully in the next coming series, we'll show some hands-on on 4.0, and then you will be able to see some analytics there. And I highly recommend people who are not using it, and if you're not worried about you losing your ability to think, please go sign up to openai.com, and then you'll be able to sign up with ChatGPT and literally try simple things like writing an email or writing a text or generating some idea for this one. It's a good place to just talk to we usually call it as a smart intern. So it is almost literally like having a very super smart intern with you. It is not an experienced intern. It's a smart intern that is like, it is new. So if you ask the right, so people tell me like, oh, ChatGPT, you ask anything, you'll get a brilliant answer. So we kind of tell them, saying that if you ask a stupid question, please don't expect a very brilliant answer. But if you ask a very good question, you usually get a very good response to that. Even having said that, there is a lot of hallucination and the responses sometimes loops, but it's really interesting. Any questions in this? Okay, somebody has told me GPT-4 found in Bing AI, or is it also no? So GPT-4 has Bing AI in it. So basically, recently it was in beta stage where you can literally search the web for the response. So GPT-4 has Bing AI integrated, not Bing AI. It can use Bing AI and use it in the search. I think GPT-4 has that feature to do that. So if you have some questions, please do. I'm looking at the chat support chat also, and you can definitely send it. And one of the important things that people do is also to summarize essays, right? I mean, most of you are reading a lot of data, so it would potentially, you will be able to take all this data, put it into ChatGPT, and ask it to summarize, and it will summarize that entire sentence for you. Yeah, if you raise a hand, yeah. Go ahead, Saraswati. Yeah, please unmute your
Thank you.
mic and yeah.
My question is, now it is used to say there is a software is developed to cross-check to the chat GPT, like someone are doing assignment or someone do copy, it will be tracked by the other software. Is any software developed?
Yeah. So it's like a chicken and egg problem. So there are software. So potentially, what happens is when you take the content from ChatGPT and ask for plagiarism, if you literally try it in Grammarly or Turnitin, which is the most used AI generated tracking software, they say that it is not very accurate, but it is currently very not able to track. And in the sense, how do you track it, right? For example, imagine if I get a summary from ChatGPT, and of course, if I copy paste it directly into a Turnitin, maybe it will be able to, based on the pattern, it will be able to tell you that it is generated using a AI system. But imagine if you take it from ChatGPT, put it in Bing, then actually use another software to actually summarize it or change the sentences, it would be very difficult to kind of track, saying that it is written by ChatGPT. So for example, another thing which I was trying to do is, like, you have your own essays and articles written, right? So you copy that article, put it into ChatGPT and say, can you analyze the writing style? So basically, I am putting my own content into ChatGPT chat and saying that, can you understand this writing style? So potentially it has got understood what my writing style is. After that, I'm putting, saying that, okay, based on my writing style, can you put this paragraph into my writing style? So potentially that becomes like it kind of copies my writing style, and then you will not be able to track whether this one. So it is not 100% accurate, but it sometimes works. You can even put the text into ChatGPT and say, have you written this? So sometimes it says, yeah, it has written it. Sometimes it says, no, it has not written it. So it's not very accurate, but you can definitely see patterns and see if that it can be recognized. Any other question in these lines, or I will
Thank
move on to
you.
the next slide? Yeah. All right. So we'll move on to the next slide. Yeah, I think Arka already covered some aspect of it, but I really want to get a sense of not to put it in a boxes and see what are the list of things that you're using ChatGPT for. So, for example, in our case, we are using. Oh wow, is it for creating assignments or submitting assignments? I'm curious on that. Okay. It says assignments. If you can put on the chat, it's interesting that even when I went to my village, even a 10th standard student is using ChatGPT for actually writing assignments, right? So it's interesting. They usually copy paste the question and put it into ChatGPT and say, "Hey, can you literally write an answer for it?" So I think assignment use case is really more. That's good to see. In our case, we also try and create assignments that are interesting. So, for example, you could potentially say a specific idea and say, can you create an assessment for it? Or for example, in an online course, what we do is we have a lecture, right? So we could potentially take the transcript of that lecture, put it into ChatGPT and say, based on this transcript, can you create an assignment for it? So I think this is a very good use case for at least content creators. And I also see that many of the universities are coming with policies for navigating ChatGPT, right? How do you actually prevent students from using ChatGPT? I think that's also become one of the biggest problems, because you don't know whether you have written it or they have used ChatGPT to write it. So, but I think many professors now are having an open policy that if you have used ChatGPT, acknowledge that you have used ChatGPT for actually writing assignment. I think translation is very interesting. We all used to use Google Translate as a method to translate our text. But I think ChatGPT also gives a very accurate, not I can't say very accurate in all languages, but within some, I tried it out in my Lati language and it came out pretty good. I think translation is a very good use case. I think, and the other usual use cases are like writing cover letters, writing an email, summarizing data, summarizing articles. I think that really helps, because sometimes you'll have to read all this data, right? Rather than doing that, you can just put that. So I think when you say summarize the data, I want to for participants who have not used ChatGPT to summarize data, you can literally take long text of data, put it into ChatGPT, and give a prompt. I'm using the word prompt because that's become the word for communicating with AI. So you can literally say, summarize the article in 10 bullet points, and it will literally summarize you the articles in a bullet point format. Or you say, can you summarize it for a 10-year-old? That's another prompt that you can give. So it will summarize that entire article in a simple languages. So I think that's another session I think we will do as part of the series, is the prompting and how you can give better prompts to get better results. So I think summarizing data is one. Writing proposal, I think that's an interesting use case for many researchers. I think writing proposal is the same template format. Getting ideas, essays, literature review, exploring new researches. Okay, that's interesting. Formatting text. I think we kind of ignore that part of the ChatGPT's ability to actually check for grammar, right? Simple thing, right? You can copy your text and say, can you check the grammar and correct only the grammar? That's a prompt that you can give so that it doesn't actually rephrase a lot of these things. Proofreading, okay. So I see pattern here, right? One is summarizing. That's a one very good use case. And the second one is, of course, translation. That's a big one. And the third pattern I see is more exploring new ideas and summarizing. I think silly things also. I think that's an interesting one. I think Arka, you were asking for the fun facts. I'm also quite curious here. Any questions till now? You can just open the mic and speak. In this slide, if there is any interesting questions that you have on the list of things that you've used ChatGPT for. I think many participants are hiding behind the camera. Okay. If you want to put the questions in the chat, that's also fine. Kindly share some of the links where you can register and try about AI and ChatGPT. I think we'll put the link in the chat here. Our team will put it so that you can register into OpenAI. If somebody can put the OpenAI link, the ChatGPT link, and I think Riri can get access to it. Okay, the last one is resume. I think many people are using it to create resumes. I think that's very interesting use case for using ChatGPT, because you can literally say, I want to create a resume. I have 10 years experience in this field. I've been doing data research and things like that. Can you give me a sample resume for the same? and it literally gives you a sample resume. And then, of course, having said all this, please be careful. Don't take it just like that. Take it and make changes to it, right? Based on your experience, make modification to it. But definitely, you can use ChatGPT to get the first draft of the thing. I'm not getting the question. ChatGPT is not valuable for future. I'm not sure about that question. ChatGPT keeps evolving. So this, what I can see from the current version is it's a very early version of the GPT. We are currently only focusing on ChatGPT's capabilities here, but there are so many tools getting improved in the AI space, especially for creating images, for creating videos, creating audio, simulating audio. Even for us, we are finding it very difficult to keep up track with all the tools. But definitely, maybe Chat GPT may not be relevant. It may die off because other AI tools may be evolving. But having said that, even GPT for that matter is kind of evolving over time, and you can see that there is competition from Google, there is competition from other players like Amazon. So this will keep improving over time. Okay, thanks for all the contribution here. I think we got a very good response. Almost 40 people submitted the response here. We'll go to the next slide. I just wanted to quickly get a sense of because when I ask this question, I really get a very interesting response. Right? How do you think this ChatGPT is working? Right? In a layman's term, I'm not really looking at a big large language model or like how it is human trained and things like that. And I just wondered from your perspective, how do you think ChatGPT is working? Right? Because people have some misconception about how it is giving the answers. Do anybody have any idea how ChatGPT is generating this kind of text? Meanwhile, people type. I will take that question. That it says the knowledge filter. How can we use it for getting updated information except using? Okay, so yeah, I think that's an interesting question, right? People say like till September 21st. So what happens is this ChatGPT model is trained till September 2021. So literally, as of now, even if you use Bing AI, you will be able to only get some information that is relevant to the latest data. So using ChatGPT, you may not be able to actually able to get the latest information. But one trick for this is search for Bing AI, right? There you can use Bing AI for free. So that is not ChatGPT. Basically, Microsoft has bought OpenAI, so they have integrated this OpenAI with Bing. So if you want the latest information, for free without paying money, you try and use Bing AI, right? You search for Bing AI. We'll try and put all these links after this, and you can potentially. It is not as user friendly as ChatGPT. You can't keep asking questions, but definitely you'll get the latest information for that. Hope Sandesh, I answered the question there. Thanks for the question. So people are asking about difference between BART and ChatGPT. These are two different models, and most of these people have not specified how these models are trained, right? So we will not be able to say one will give more relevant data than other. It is difficult. When actually BART was launched, there was a lot of criticism that it was not at all as good as OpenAI, but it still kept improving. So I recently saw a survey which says the first preference is BART, first preference is OpenAI, and second preference is ChatGPT, and the third one was more Midjourney for AI image generation and things like that. So that's how that's the thing with these models. We don't know exactly how relevant it is. I think you should try and figure out, put the same queries in both and see how relevant data is getting. Okay, so let me go back to the question. How do you think ChatGPT is working, right? Okay, let me just go through. Okay, somebody wants to know it. It stores information. It stores information from internet from some. Okay, algorithm. Let me just quickly go through this. It's Robert. You input command or idea, or it will. Okay. ChatGPT can on pre-trained, fine-tuned review feedback to generate text response based. Okay, maybe using learning and okay, there are a lot of responses on this. Okay, let me just clarify one response that people usually think what it does, right? So, because when I talk to people, hey, how do you think ChatGPT is working? People's response is, okay, it is taking information from various places and kind of putting it all together. That's a general response that we get, saying that, oh, it is taking things from various parts from internet and combining it and then presenting it. Okay, that is not really the way ChatGPT is working. That's usually the misconception that people have got, saying that, oh, ChatGPT means because it's generating the text and generating from various contexts, so it should be from some places it is pulling the data, right? And so, in a way, how ChatGPT is operating is it is so the people from OpenAI has taken all these data sets, right, and put it into, they call it the training model, but in simple terms, if I may put it, you have taken all this text and put it in one place and ask this model to kind of understand patterns. So I hope that is, I'm trying to simplify. That's why I'm also literally struggling to put simplify. So basically, they have taken all this text from very good sources like Wikipedia, all the peer-reviewed journals, or for example, all the articles. So they've taken all these articles, their peer-reviewed journals, Wikipedia articles, the sources which I've trusted. They've taken all this. I mean, so when I say sources which are trustworthy, it's also very ambiguous. Right? We don't know what the sources they have. They have given a list, but it is not comprehensive on how it is trained. But having said that, all this data are trained, and when you actually give an input, right? What, how, who are dash. So it is literally trying to predict what is the next word. So ChatGPT, the way it is functioning is, it is literally trying to fill the next word in a bigger context. So how are dash would be how are you, because you will see how are you as a pattern in all this text combined together. So that's literally how ChatGPT kind of is working in the backend. Arka, I just wanted to get a sense of the time also because we are already in 7:45, right?
Yes, Diljit. So let me check.
Yeah. So we have 10 more minutes or like 5 more minutes.
We have 5. Sorry about that.
Okay, we have 5 months. Okay, so okay, literally, so what we'll do is we'll close here, and I have like series of true or false questions, right? We'll just run it by quickly so that we'll get just understand the context of what GPT can do, right? So people, do you want to quickly answer? GPT models are 100% unbiased. Is it true or false? Perfect. I think everybody is in that same direction, though there's no much more need to explain here. Okay, there are people who are saying true. I don't have the time to discuss it further, but generally GPT models are 100% unbiased is a false statement, right? It's not, it may not judge you. That's another thing, because you can ask any question, but it is not 100% unbiased. That's a good response. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Okay, okay, I think we have covered this topic. GPT models are trained on fixed data sets and do not update on real time. Yeah, it's a true statement. That is, oh, people who are saying false. let me correct. GPT models are tuned on fixed data set. So basically, it is not literally talking to the internet. So when you are entering some query onto ChatGPT, unless you use the Bing AI, it is not talking to the internet as of now. You are literally trying to interact with the data set which is already there, which is as specified by ChatGPT in September 2021, I think. Oh, I'm not really, yeah, 2021. After that, the data is not updated. Maybe in the future versions, they will update the data with the recent data sets. GPT can understand human emotion. Can it understand human emotions? Yes. Okay. I think the answer is very, very clear. The majority is true. It cannot, it can maybe understand the pattern of the text and determine whether it's happy, sad. Okay. For people who have told true, it can understand the pattern of the text and say whether, but that is still understanding the pattern. It is not really understanding whether you are actually sad or not. So that understanding ChatGPT does not have yet, right? And the next one, can ChatGPT can verify factual information accurately of the information it is generating? Wow, equal, is it? Okay, so I want the majority is correct here also. ChatGPT can verify factual information is not true because it is still generating patterns. So sometimes the information may be literally wrong, and we will be able to kind of not able to have factual information, accurate factual information at all in this thing. See, I had few more questions. Maybe we'll keep it for the next series, Arka, because I've crossed the time. We can maybe go on to the questions, right? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Diljit. So we have explored like our perception about ChatGPT, and he covered a little bit about how it works. And then I saw that a lot of you are very interested to ask some questions. So I will try to cover as many as I can within the designated time. So the first question, I would like to know about the AI role on the cognitive abilities of the human brain. So would you like to recommend to upgrade the AI or no? Or what would be the advantage or and disadvantage? So maybe this person is trying to see whether AI improvement is a good thing or a bad thing. So maybe Pak Anis, can you please give your comment on that?
Okay, yes, thank you, Mas Arka. It is also a very interesting question. I think it is also about the future of AI in our yeah, our society, and I think a lot of discussion currently uh, also was raised about the specific of AI for specific purpose. So, for example, we heard about Elsevier. Scopus was also trying to develop their own large language model specifically for research purpose. So I heard that the objective is also to improve the current or the existing large language model that uh, that that was developed based on the scientific materials. So if this kind of a new generative AI that was developed only based on the evidence-based research and scientific, I think that could also be the one to improve the way we as a researchers to search and to learn to read and summarize materials. So I think it is in this kind of context, it depends on what kind of data or type of data that could be embedded into the AI. So in this kind of context, I think I'm agree with some of the comment that we could use AI as our partners or a friend, given that if we could develop like the uh, the friend during our research, so it could also be useful for us to provoke us with some question or ideas. So I think in this kind of context, it could also be able to improve the cognitive aspect as we as researchers. So I think this kind of the advantage could also be possible. But another possible disadvantage was also like what we discussed, over relying on this kind of new tools or robotic perhaps could also be danger in some context. So, for example, if we have more time to do, if we have more time, if we have limited time, but more time, but we have limited time, but more jobs to do. Sometimes it could also bring us not a very detail on receiving some information from this kind of product. So if there is some error, and then we just receive as it is, so it could also be dangerous for us. So I think we need also to pay attention when we are working with this kind of tools. Thank you, Mas Arka.
Thank you, Pak Anies. And in relation to that, I would like to bring up another question actually. So, Nafet Alam said that some journals now require a statement regarding if we use AI language for manuscript preparation. I think this question is very important. How will this affect the acceptability of our manuscript? I was thinking maybe if we say yes, yes, we use a language model to prepare this manuscript, we use it like this. How will that affect the acceptability? It's our work and we want it to be published. Will the editors reject it because we use to some extent, or is this the right question for? I think for both of you. So maybe Fanis first, maybe.
I do not know exactly actually the answer about the the effect or the impact on put more transparency when we are writing a manuscript. But as the recommendation from the journal that I mentioned from GMIR, it mentioned about the role of authors need to explicitly mention about the accountability, transparency, and confidentiality. So I think one of the most important value or principle for researchers is integrity. So I think the integrity is at first. So integrity could also be explicitly shown by the accountability and also transparency on mentioning if we are using AI. So if we could use this kind of principle uh, in responsible, I think we do not know finally whether when we use this kind of statement, it will give us, for example, bad remarks by reviewer. But I don't think so, because reviewer will see not only about using tools, but also on the context of research, the methodologies, and also the finding. Not only about just statement we use AI and then oh it is not. For example, the results not genuine. I don't think so. If
Yeah.
I'm a reviewer, if they mention AI, I also upload it and also appreciate. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Pak Anies. And Diljit, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I would more, I mean, like, look at the context. I'm not clear about the current context, how the reviewer will think, right? But if you look at a broader context about these tools, right? People are all confused. Governments are confused. Academicians are confused. People who are making rules are confused on what to do because this is a change that nobody really expects, right? I mean, there is a system actually which is generating. Okay, maybe tomorrow this systems will actually start writing manuscripts which are longer and bigger and better. So what I feel is these rules are not really clear, and it will keep changing also, right? These tools are also getting evolved, right? So I mean, I'll give you the context of image, stock image sites. See, stock images has always been there, and taking a professional stock photo is extremely difficult, right? And very costly because you need a high camera, lighting, and things like that. And now the AI cameras are able to literally create, AI inputs are able to create very good quality images. Now, what those image software companies have done is they have asked them to identify it is an AI generated image. So in case of image, you are able to kind of identify because of the metadata in the image that it is the data from the AI. So hopefully, maybe later these systems will also evolve to kind of identify where the text has been generated, and also maybe government also is trying to put regulations on how these things are used. But as of now, I see that my point of view is there is no stopping to this technology. So as Anis was trying to say, either we use it, or if you don't use it. If you use it, you will get that advantage of using it. But I think it feels ethical in our university. They say that you mentioned that it is ethical. So I think policies also will come around it, saying that how we should be using this AI technology, because it's so early. Things have not evolved in terms of rules, but I think those regulations and rules will be in place very soon. Not very soon, maybe it will come.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Diljit. And then I wanna know from the point of view of a lecturer. So this is actually a question from Tahmina Akhter. The question is, when we use ChatGPT for assignment, there is no reference. So what will be the validity of the information? I think as a lecturer, maybe Pak Anis can share his thought on this about using ChatGPT on assignment, but there is no reference because it comes from language model.
Yes, thank you for this question. Yes, I think first we know about the limitation of the data that were embedded into ChatGPT. I think the last update was in 21, uh, and I think in ChatGPT we know as well that they also have some limitation about the reference. But in ChatGPT 4, I think they have several plugin to provide this kind of limitation. But if you do not have this ChatGPT version 4, I think what I propose is try to put your question into other AI related tools. For example, either using Bing, Bard, and also like what I put in the chat, some other related AI tool as well. So once you have several answer from this kind of AI, you could compare. And I think it is also related to our analogy before, right? I think the most important is not only on the gun, but the one who used that gun. So don't to rely on this kind of technologies. You still can use your own brain. Don't forget your brain is still on your head. Still use that and don't rely on ChatGPT. Thank you, Mas Arka.
Thank you, Pak Anies. Gigi, do you want to add something or continue to
No,
the
I
next?
mean
Okay,
he literally nailed it.
okay. So the next question maybe I will ask Diljit to answer this one. So Sandes asked, what is the difference between ChatGPT and Google Bard, and which one to
Okay.
use, and especially why? And then, yeah, also a question about, yeah, do we need to buy a subscription for ChatGPT 4? Yeah, that's correct, as mentioned. And yeah, and please clarify on making best use of AI in public health.
Okay. I
The
think
first, the first part of the question, maybe you can answer that, Diljit.
yeah, I think Anis can answer the public health part. See, these models. See, one thing very specific about these models are nobody knows how the internally it is functioning, right? OpenAI was the the first model that came out actually, which revolutionized this generative AI concept. So as Anis was trying to say, let's not rely upon one tool, right? We have to use multiple tools and use our head and say that can we generate data and read it to yourself and seeing that how relevant it is. And because you can't completely put some input into these systems and get an output and say that is what it is. So what I mean, what I've realized is these models are also keeping on evolving. You can't say that, oh, this is good and this is bad. So, but what I strongly suggest is try inputting in two sources and see for your context, are you getting better result either in BERT or GPT, and see if it is useful. Should you take GPT-4 or not? It depends upon how much money are you getting worth out of $20. So, for example, if you are doing a lot of work in data analytics, $20 is like spending a money on intern. So you could potentially do a bit more faster data analytics using it. So it's literally how much money value for money are you getting out of it. We use it a lot. We use it for creating questions, getting answers to our support tickets, and lots more. So I think if you're getting value for the money, it's worth investing, especially if you're in data analytics and uh, spending a lot of time writing. I would suggest that you would try at least subscribing it for a month and trying it out, whether it's adding value.
Okay, thank you, Diljit.
Yeah.
Also, there was a question, Pak Anis, about how to use the best use of AI in public health. Maybe you can share something, or maybe if you don't mind, maybe you can share some work that you are working in with AI in public health, if you don't mind. Thank you, Anis.
Yes, thank you, Mas Arka, and also thank you for the question. I'm a lecturer in public health, and sometimes I also do work with the government. When we discuss with the government, actually they need more information update as we are from universities, academy, but as academia, as researchers, my preference is always to use the latest reference from the scientific journal. But the problem is from the scientific journal, it is always written from the perspective of research. It is not easy to translate the materials in scientific journals and then send to the people in the policy making. So we need to translate. And translating the way that I did, I just can show you some example. I have experience on writing in media, in bahasa Indonesia in media. I write in newspaper and also some other example. So what I did is I put my writing in newspaper and then put on ChatGPT, and then I asked ChatGPT, ChatGPT, can you see my style of writing? And then I put my writing, and then I put 2 or 3 papers that I was writing on journal, and then I asked ChatGPT, would you please write like this example or the way I wrote on journal? I put some materials on the scientific journals. So the material in the scientific journal will be translated in the way that I try to put my message to the public or to the audience. So, and then after that, I just modify a little bit. So it is also the way to improve and also to put some efficiencies on doing the role of public health researchers to send message to the policy making. So as long as we develop like this kind of model, I think it could also bring us more efficiencies to do a lot of things. It is just one example, but we could do later, for example, on health promotion. So there are some AI tools that could be used to develop like image or engaging social media messages. So I think there are some other examples that could be used as public health practitioners. Thank you, Mas Arka.
Thank you, Pak Anies. And yeah, I think we still have a little bit time for the last question. This comes from Erwan Budi. So he said that in terms of healthcare and disease preparedness, many researchers have created AI tool to diagnose or forecast the likelihood of health issues like Parkinson's disease and breast cancer. So he said that why don't we apply AI in healthcare by developing AI-based applications or instruments rather than ChatGPT or open source AI, because that's more applicable in the healthcare setting, maybe in the hospital, in the laboratory. So he wants to know what's your opinion on that, on developing AI, maybe AI powered instruments or AI powered applications to predict diseases. Maybe this question is for Anis.
Yeah, I think there are actually a lot of research on that part. So you know that with the current development of digitalization in the health sector, in the hospital, many hospital and health facilities develop electronic medical record. And if we provide more data based on EMR and a lot of things, it could also be useful as part of the prediction model for certain disease, developing risk score, etc. So actually, there are a lot of example on that. But I think this kind of algorithm is not available for public, like we know, because ChatGPT is more general use. But if you come to certain hospital, especially hospital that implement yeah, advanced electronic medical record, this kind of functions is possibly available in certain clinical decision support system. It could also be used based on the image. Several I think the most advanced and also widely used AI for hospital was on the radiology. So if we put a lot of images on radiology, and then uh, we could ask the AI to provide some possibility of a certain diagnosis based on image. So I think this kind of technologies are already available, but I think it is available for specific users, not ChatGPT that are available in the public. If you also try to search some AI related for health diagnosis, it is also available in the web. But I think we need also to use this more carefully, because for specific purpose, especially if people also consider about their own disease, relying on this kind of technology is not recommended. It is better to go to the doctors. But you know, some people also try to use this kind of questions and also input into ChatGPT, and they can provide some answer. But I think when you try to use ChatGPT, if we put some question related to the medical or health issues, there is always some some concern about please come to the doctors, and the result from ChatGPT is not recommended as similar to the recommendation from healthcare professionals. Thank
Okay,
you,
thank
Mas
you,
Arka.
Anis. Yeah, it's good to know that ChatGPT provides disclaimer about the answer, right? About diagnosing yourself, it's not good. You should seek a doctor for that. And maybe the use of AI in diagnosis is more on the screening part, right, Pak Anis? So maybe screening, and then
Yeah,
after we get some
yeah.
indication, maybe the doctor can start another uh, diagnostic method, or maybe use the gold standard to diagnose the disease. I think what people are using currently is mostly on screening the disease, not the what is it, the final diagnosis one. Okay, and we have reached the end of our Q&A. Thank you everyone for your questions. We have a lot of questions today, or this morning, wherever you are right now. So I'm glad that you are still here until the end of our session. And I would also like to thank Pak Anis and Dilje. Thank you very much for your insights. It's true that today we are not going into very detail about AI and ChatGPT because we are saving it for the next session. So please stay tuned because we will have another meeting like this with different topics, and make sure to join us next time. So thank you once again, Pak Anis, Diljit, and everyone who has been very actively participating. And I would like to give this opportunity back to Agi.
Thank you, Arka. And thank you so much for everyone, especially our esteemed speaker, Pak Anis Diljit, for today's session. Before we end this session, I would like to inform the participants to fill the survey in the chat room so we can understand what kind of topics are you interested in for our future AI and research webinar series. So this webinar, we will create a similar ones, and your input will be very, very helpful for us. Before we end this meeting, can we take a photo with all the participants? So everyone, can you open your camera and we will have a group photo session? We would like to encourage all participants to open their camera, and we will have our quick photo sessions together. Okay. Marida, Arista, can you help me take a picture? Okay. Okay, so I will wait. Can we take a picture now? Okay. I will count to 3. Everyone, please have your best smile ready. 1, 2, and 3. Again,
Thank you.
our next page, we have quite a few participants tonight. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, we would like to express our gratitude to IR Connect and TDR Global Asia for making this collaboration possible. Together, we aim to foster knowledge, exchange, and empower individuals in the pursuit of excellence in research. Thank you for being a part of ChatGPT and AI in research. We hope you find this webinar both enlightening and engaging. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
And please
everyone.
leave your comments and evaluation on the link. And we are waiting to see you on the next session.
Have a great weekend.
You. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.